Oh wow, Blue Eyes White Dragon does it again. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So this is quite an interesting regional because that's a lot of Radiant Typhoon. I'm actually pretty impressed with the sheer amount of Radiant Typhoon that's smashed into this event, because not only does it showcase that, Radiant Typhoon is doing pretty decently well in some of these regions, we get to see, how the meta kind of stacks up against Radiant Typhoon. Because Radiant Typhoon's a deck that I know a lot of people don't really want to play into because it is kind of an annoying matchup, especially when you've got all three of these builds being, the pure version. We've also got to remember, you could take like the Fiendsmith version. We've recently seen some other developments with Radiant Typhoon as well, trying out the Azamina package. Like, this is just a deck that I don't want to run into in the competitive scene. So to see this is doing very well is good. Now, stacking up against it, we did have one Vanquish Soul challenge with the K9 package. I'm not surprised to report that, Vanquish Soul K9 was probably by far the biggest meta upset of this region. Vanquish Soul into Radiant Typhoon is not a fun matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one this duelist was able to overcome. We also do see Malice coming in and actually shaking things up. Malice has been doing pretty decent against some of these challengers, a lot more than I think some people kind of want to admit. Now, we also do have Draco Tale with Magistus cards. It's crazy to me that only one of these got through, and they were playing the Magistus package on top of that. I also do see we have the Unbridled Power of Primite Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's a pretty interesting challenger. And we also had Exosister as well. Honestly, Exosister's been doing pretty decent against some of these more grindy matchups that have been present within the meta. So overall, everything looks good here. Your meta was actually pretty defined, and you get a lot of different characteristics for this event. Now, we have Matuz's Vanquish Soul first place list to start things off. Now, a lot of these Vanquish Soul lists, I say this every video too, a lot of these lists kind of feel the same in terms of what's available for them, because you don't really get a lot of crazy room to innovate. Like, the craziest thing is like, do I want to play 2 heavy Borger or 1? And, usually you're going to find the answer is going to be a lot more players are going towards the 2 right now, which is fine. You do see we do have access to this 2 the shifter in the main deck. We're also playing Saruja, because Saruja's ability to deep dive into the deck is pretty strong. You've also been noticing a lot more of these lists have been actually side decking the K9 stuff, or just choosing to not play it at all. It's actually kind of crazy because the K9 pop into the control and the werewolf actually is not on the level that it used to be. Like, these were good cards to initially kind of start things off, but time has just kind of fostered away from these. So that's very, very, very interesting. Next up, we have Amari's Radiant Typhoon second place list. Now, I do see we are playing Noble Knight Shieldbearer. I find this Shieldbearer was a good card when things kind of started off. Kind of having it be in and out as a tech choice, I think has been pretty nice to see. I also see that we do have the Twin Storm deities here. I have noticed that these guys have been very, very, very useful for just being good, strong control options for the game. Bounce ability, being able to safely recur back a field actually does help out a lot. I see we're also playing the triple Albion. You have double Fallen and Virtuous. This is one of those particular cases where, like, as you're playing extra, you really cannot afford to, go too crazy. Also, imagine every $50 price tag that you'd have to start spending to, try to make things a little bit more balanced. So there is that, but this looks actually pretty decent. Next up here, we have Arthur's Malice pile. Now, I do see a couple of cool little things here. Still playing the shifter as usual. Most of the Malice numbers look fine, doing 2 Bestials, doing only 2 Allure or Darkness. I think double Allure is fine in a list like this. A lot of the time, especially if you start to want to go over the numbers, then yeah, sure, I could justify wanting to play more Allure of Darkness, but I think the way that this build is structured, you do not want this deck to feel very heavy in terms of those ratios. I do also see we are playing the Code of the Soul, or the Heat Soul down here, to kind of net you into more of those free draws. We do kind of appreciate the Congo line that this does give us access to. I also see, hey, we do have the Link Disciple in here as well. So we have some tech options available to us in this list, which is kind of refreshing to actually see, so not too bad for Malice. Next up is Eduardo's Radiant Typhoon list. Now, you are going to notice, once again, I think these Radiant Typhoon lists, at least out of this region, are going to kind of bleed together in terms of their tech options. You know, this one actually bringing in the triple pot of extra, so you can kind of do your things. You do have access to Noble Arm Shield Bearer in here. You do see this list is only doing the 2 copies of the Storm Deities, which is fine. I mean, once again, I mean, you can go to more of the extreme and play the 3. It's really just going to depend on what you want to do. I also do see we are playing Mega Hala down here in the side deck as the additional copy. We've been seeing a little bit of a bounce back and forth on how many Mega Hala you want to have access to. So there's nothing wrong with the large sweep of these options. And you do see this list did choose to play the incredible Black Dragon Ecclesia, just so you can have that extra name, plus $50 on the deck price, just to have the 1 extra copy. It's crazy, man. It really, really is. Next up here, we have Leonardo's Draco Tale Magistus special. Now, the one thing that people don't necessarily like about this list is, like, if you're putting in the Magistus cards, it feels like you're kind of bricking down the deck. You know, you've chosen to play more of these cards that some players just consider dead draws. And there's nothing wrong with that, all right? Don't get me wrong. It's just, you're going to have to understand that, like, because you are playing these additional cards, that, you know, sometimes just the branded version would feel a little bit better. So kind of take that away as you're going into the deck building space here, that you are going to have to kind of manage that resource management a little bit better. But also, I mean, being able to just turn Zorawa into the incredible Ecclesia and then start combo through that way is kind of stupid. But it's something else that this deck has access to that I think does make it a little bit better of a build. Next up here, we have Antonio's Blue Eyes White Dragon, actually playing 50 cards. Like, I guess good job at managing to get that many resources shoved into the deck, but also good job on finding room to actually get Dragon Master Magia to work, because I love Magia. I think Magia is a really, really funny card for what you can kind of get to work in some of these lists. But man, you know, you have to play the Chaos Max, you have to play the Blue Eyes Ultimate, you're also playing the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate in here as well. The fact that you somehow managed to get all of this jam-packed into a list, and I guess I could see this is why 50 cards actually is a better decision on the build side of things, just to make sure that, you know, you can actually get those ratios a little bit more optimized, and it actually does kind of work out. So, not too bad, to say the least. Next up here, we have Daniel's Exosister pile. Now, Exosister, I mean, if you walk into a format where there's a lot of graveyard decks running around, oh my gosh, you are probably going to have the time of your life. You are probably going to do some of the best that I could see. But I see we're also playing 2 Camellia down here, which I think is fine. I think every list has just been 2 of this, 3 of the new spell. You're not really worried about doing anything else with this. It's all pretty streamlined. I see we're also playing both of the traps in the main deck. That's also very interesting. We have seen some lists that have tried out not going down this approach, but I think this does work out decently well. We do have the Aratama in here to kind of get us a little extender so we can kind of keep things going, which I think is just fine. But outside of that, this all seems like a pretty standard Exosister pile. Like I said, you're not going to get a lot of craziness from these lists, but it's definitely enough to see what you're working with. Next up here, we have Yuri's Radiant Typhoon list, and I guess all these duels just decided that they wanted to play pretty much the same list here, right? Like, we have the Noble Knight Shield Bearer to be able to get the filter, going with the 2 twins, 2 of the Fallen and Virtuous. They did choose to play the Towers as the additional searcher to kind of get those resources going, which I don't think is particularly all that bad. But I think everything that you have here actually works out decently well. So that is your breakdown and another regional in the book showcasing, you know, some of the cool things we're kind of seeing here. So please, you know, take a second to leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.